Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Kellen here from Snyder Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator. And today, for episode 107 or 108, whichever one this was, English, whichever one this one is, I'm doing a track called Snyder's Tree Farm by Staydown. And yes, I know on the right side of the screen, where underneath the map it says Cinders or Sinders, or I don't know however you want to pronounce it, Tree Farm. Well, that's because Staydown actually went through the trouble to make that logo and then the track map to go with it and all that business for this particular track. And he spelled it wrong and never once caught it. And he even posted in this track thread that he made that he spelled it wrong, and he couldn't believe that he did, but he just was going to leave it and not really worry about it. Yeah, Staydown track. And another fun one at that. It's been a little while since I did a Staydown track, but the last one that I did, I believe, was Horsing Around, which was episode 57 of Track Walk. And Staydown is one of my more kind of favorite track creators in this game because he always seems to put out a really good mix of track and environment. And this one, again, no exception. Like Horsing Around, we did a little kind of free riding through, and there's like some horse stables, and it's out in a pasture, and there's a nice house, and it's like really nice. And this appears to be on what you would assume is a pine tree farm, which is basically Christmas trees. So good time of the year to be talking about this anyway. And gosh, the decals look great. The environment looks really well done. All the trees, and he always seems to put power lines or towers or something like that on his tracks, and it always looks just banging. So I will do a little bit of riding like through some of the trees after I'm done riding the track for a little bit to kind of talk about the environment, I suppose. But to the track, again, just another like realistic kind of feeling track. Like that right there is probably the only unrealistic thing about it, but I'm pretty sure he meant for you not to actually be able to do what I just did, which is launch off and downside the fourth single in line there. I think it was supposed to be like a scrub single and then rollers. But then the rest of the track, I mean, it's all just like kind of short tabletops and some whoop sections and a little bit of rough here and there, but in general, just a really good grippy traction and really well-built corners and berms and stuff like that. And in my opinion, I feel like this is totally like a local style track that you would see. I don't know, like we have some of them like this in California, but obviously the environment looks nothing like this, but they're like, you know, it's kind of almost like a milestone if I could point one out that's here in California. Maybe a little bit like Paris because it's a shorter lap time, but just, you know, small jumps, easy things to do, nothing that's gonna, you know, kill the riders that come there or anything like that. And still some fun sections and some interesting lines and stuff like that, and it's a good fun track to play, but it's not like you're about to go play this track because it's got the biggest jumps and you're about to throw the gnarliest whips on or anything. You're playing it because, well, we're playing MX Simulator, and this is a very well created, you know, kind of small end track that you'd find at a local cross kind of track. So I like that feel. I love the feel of this particular track. And Staydown, at least in the last few years that he's started, you know, releasing tracks again, has been really solid about putting a really grippy traction on his tracks, which makes for very, very fast tracks. Like this track, you come out of corners and before you know it, you're shifting through the gears because you're running out of gear because of how fast the traction makes you go. And it does break a little bit, but I think that more or less the breakaway that just happened right there where I lost the front end and went over the berm, is because it makes the tracks fairly realistic when it comes to like ruggedness. Like it's not just a smooth surface all the way around the track. There's bumps and little ruts and notches and stuff throughout the track to make you kind of think twice about just going in there and laying it over. But yeah, I mean the environment is really good, and I love the track. It's a must-play kind of track for sure, and it's just in general pretty fun. I could definitely see, I mean, I don't know how physically taxing this would be on a computer because I have a fairly decent one and I have the graphics turned all the way up and I'm running it just fine. But I could see how if you get about 20 people on this track to do, you know, like a local series race on it, for example, it might be a little rough because there are a lot of statue files There's not a lot of terrain or anything like that. It's pretty small terrain, but the more statue files that you add to a track, just the more and more lag you elicit from it, because the game is trying to load a lot more textures in a three-dimensional aspect rather than billboard files, which are just two-dimensional. And I don't know if there's any billboard files on this track, so I don't know if I could show you what that would look like, but all these trees look to be three-dimensional. Like, I could go around every single one of these trees, and they all have multiple angles and sides to it. It's not like it's just a swiveling billboard, which I wish I could show you, but I can't. But yeah, fun track, fun environment, really solid job with shadows on this track. I mean, look at all the tree shadows. You don't see many people do tree shadows. I've never done tree shadows on any of my tracks, mainly because I don't know how, and I'm unwilling to learn. But yeah, I mean, he did a great job at really putting a lot of detail into this. This was released back in April, I want to say. And so it's had some good use out of it. I mean, I've seen some people post pictures of it on the forums for screenshots, and some people playing it in servers and stuff like that, which I always like to see. When it comes to tracks in this game, there's thousands of servers available. Not always up and running, but there's been probably thousands of servers that have been used in this game. And you can check them all out on the mxsimulator.com/servers page at all times to see what track is on where. But my point is that you don't often see just every track and their mother being used on a server. Like, it's always nice to see when a track gets some use out of it on a server, because that means that multiple people are riding it and having fun enjoying it together, which is, in my opinion, why I started playing the game in the first place, because I wanted to try out these awesome tracks and more or less meet new people and play a fun game with moto enthusiasts. So it's nice to see when this track, or any track for that matter, gets some use out of it on a server, like this one has had before. Staydown is pretty notorious, I would say, for also, I would say, building like smaller tracks, not smaller scale, but he, to my knowledge, I'm trying to think back, he's never really released a track that's like long, like above a 2-minute lap time. I've seen some tracks that he's posted on the forums that look to have been long, but he has never released them. Like, there was this one track that like kind of went through a river valley, and it had a big bridge and power lines again. I mean, it just sounds like a normal Staydown track, but it looked pretty long. I wouldn't say it was going to be over 2-minute lap time, but yeah, he always builds these kind of like short local cross tracks. I mean, that's the only way I can really describe them, because lots of tables. Sometimes he'll put a rhythm section or two. The last of his releases after I think it was after this one, it might have been right before it actually, now that I think of it, was a track called High Voltage. And again, power lines. I think he made the power lines, so I'm just talking around the fact that he keeps adding those into his tracks, but I'm pretty sure he was the one that actually modeled the power lines, so there's pretty good reason why he would continuously put them in his tracks. But again, that was a really short track, that High Voltage one. I mean, it only had like 8 or 9 turns on it. It was fun. It was a lot like this one, whereas it had really good ruts and good flow to the track, and it was very grippy traction, and great for screenshots and videos, because it was just a really good looking environment. But again, not very long of a track, maybe a little over a minute on occasion, but I'm pretty sure I was doing lap times under a minute when I was playing it, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not trying to nitpick or anything like that. I think that with the genre he chooses to make his tracks in, he does a incredible job with it, and I would not ask him to change a thing about this track for sure. I think everything about this track is really just unique and flowy and fun, and gosh, it would just be so great to race on this track too. I would love to partake in a local cross series race on this track, but we don't have a lot of local stuff going on anymore. It's all the bigger, better, larger tracks these days. Everybody wants to get the big tracks to do the big whips. But I'm having fun on this track, man. And there's, I tried to at least, because I did a few laps before this video, to nail this particular line right here, if I can get a run. Yeah, I just don't see that being possible. I don't think he was trying to make it possible either, but I would assume maybe that the people that have a little better corner speed than me could maybe pull that out, but I doubt it, because it's pretty far. So let me do some kind of adventuring here. Looks like this wall does not have collision. Oh, these are billboards. Okay, see how when I turn, the tree turns with me, so all the trees look kind of the same from the perspective, but when I'm like really close here, you can see that it's just like a flat nothing, if that's what you want to call it. But like this fence is not. It's three-dimensional. It's got a plan area on the top and then down the sides, and then obviously this thing is not a billboard either because I'm like in it. And it's got multiple areas. This tree has 4 sides to it by the looks of it, or 6 sides maybe. And then I think those banners might be billboards, and those stakes are probably billboards. And over here, he's got some sort of fire going on. Don't worry, it's not gonna burn me. It's just billboards again. That's actually sequence files, which I believe you also put in your billboards folder, but you can see as I turn, the fire moves. It doesn't stay in the same spot, which makes it a billboard. Unlike the, whatever those are called. Fucking, man, why can't I remember what the name of those? Pallets! Those pallets are also models, objects, whatever. This guy is a billboard, and I believe this woman is too, because she's always looking away from me. Why? Why are you hiding your face from us? But man, I mean, just look at, it's just like trees after trees after trees, and then these are actual statues, because they're three-dimensional. And then this is really unique over here, this radio tower thing. Check out this tractor too, nice looking tractor. Probably hauled in that carriage thing that's sitting over by the fire and then left it. And then this guy over here, let's see if there's like an open spot in the fence. There is not, so I'll just go through it. Nice big tower, and I would take a look at it from a free cam perspective, but there's not another person in the race with me right now, so I'll try to do this and see if we can see the top of it. Yeah. Here, I'll go first person. Just the top of it. How about I end the video here with trying to ride in first person? I'm not a first person rider, as many of you probably already knew. I'm a third person rider. And it's mainly because first person makes me nauseous to play. I can play it like a little bit, like it's not that hard for me to do this right now, necessarily. But if I played this for like 5 laps in first person, it would just make me too dizzy. I can't ever pick out a reason why it does that. I'd assume it's because your head is not on like a swivel and it follows the front fender to a T, so it's kind of hard to master that, if you will. But everybody that seems to be really fast in this game now has mastered that, and I'm just gonna always be stuck being a third-person noob. So let me try to finish one full lap and see what a first-person lap looks like on this track. I already have terrible depth perception as it is, but it's even worse when it comes to first person because I can't see as far down the track, so I don't know exactly where I am anymore, which is really, really challenging. When you're in third person, you're a little bit behind the rider, so you can kind of see down the track a little ways and know exactly how far away you are from the corner and stuff like that. And I'm assuming when you play first person all the time, you get used to that, but I'm just not even close to used to that right now. I'm doing all right though. I definitely would have expected a fall by this point, and I'm probably just jinxed myself. Ugh. Oh, clipping the inside barrier there. This game in first person, it looks nice for sure. I mean, I could see why people really enjoy the first person aspect of it because it is a sim and all that business, but I just have never been able to get used to it. Anywho, I'm gonna wrap up track walk now because we're coming up to the finish line at the end of this first person lap. And this has been Snyder's Tree Farm by Staydown. Very fun track, and I would recommend downloading it. You can get it in the description below. I ran a 1:21.7, so not too far off of my good lap times on third person. But yeah, download it in the description below, and if you guys like this video, bung it a like and hit us up with your comments, questions, or concerns. We'll be happy to get back to you as soon as we can. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Approaching 16,000, super pumped about that. And hope to see you guys in all of our future videos. But for now, Kellen on Start Your System saying so long for now.